I'm STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And you're going to need a lot of light to guide you through a tough week, because the title of tonight's show is No Way Out. And the reason why you can be struggling with a sticky situation and not be able to find any way out is because of three different dilemmas that are all occurring at the same time right now. The first one is the big one, and the big one is that we have something very rare happening in the heavens today, and it is a grand cross. And a grand cross means that there are a variety of planets, all in different elements, that are all squaring and opposing each other, and you can't break up the effect of that. And so this is a time when, since there are 7 planets in mutable signs, all squaring and opposing each other, that you will not be able to find a way out of a sticky situation, at least not this week. And on top of that, there's another dilemma, because there are 4 planets that are all going retrograde right now, and they're going backward. So that means that it would really pay you to go back and check information or check the facts of somebody's performance or of somebody's record, and just take a look at the difference between their hype or their publicity and what their solid results are. And so that would be a good idea to do, because all 10 planets are either in a grand cross or a harsh T-cross, and that means they're all squaring and opposing each other. And so we'll start with the grand cross itself because it's so rare. And that is because today there is there are Mercury in Virgo along with Venus, and Mercury is the planet of the mind, and Virgo is the sign of analysis and good problem solving, but that Mercury is retrograde. It's one of the 4 that are retrograde. Well, those 2 planets are opposing 2 other planets in Pisces, which are also both retrograde, and they are Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Well, when Venus and Saturn are squaring or opposing each other, that is the sign of a betrayal. But you might have a good reason, once you find out what's going on behind the scenes, which is what Pisces rules, you may have a good reason to, you can't get out of a sticky situation, but you could at least see the facts that had been hidden behind the scenes. These 4 planets are squaring, and they're opposing each other, but they're being squared by 3 other planets. And that is because today both Mars, a malefic planet, and Jupiter are at the very same degree in Gemini, and that's the 17th degree. So both Mars and Jupiter are squaring that Mercury and Venus in Virgo, and they're also squaring Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Well, Mars is one malefic planet, Saturn is another. That's no good, because they're at harsh angle to each other, and that's because Mars is at 17 degrees in Gemini, while Saturn is at 18 degrees in Pisces. That's really tight square. So there's problems there, and that is because all 6 of these planets, the 2 in Virgo, the 2 in Pisces, and the 2 in Gemini, are all squaring and opposing the 7th planet, which is in the 4th mutable sign, Sagittarius. So that sign's taking a beating too, and that's because the moon is in Sagittarius today. So the moon is getting hammered by Mercury and Venus in Virgo, and by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, which are squaring them, and its own ruler the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, and Jupiter's being exactly conjuncted by Mars in Gemini and opposing that moon. So do you understand why there's no way out of this right now, of a sticky situation? Because that's 70% of all the planets, and oh boy, they're coming up against each other. There's no way out of that. And then there's 4 other retrograde planets, meaning that we've got to go back and look things over. The 4 of them are Mercury in Virgo, Pluto in Aquarius, and then the Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. But the other 3 remaining planets in the heavens are in a harsh T-cross right now in fixed signs. And fixed signs don't budge. These this harsh T-cross in fixed signs has been going on for a while. So the sun is in Leo today. It is being harshly opposed by Pluto in Aquarius, which rules powerful people in upper management that have their eyes on the future. And then these two planets are all being squared by Uranus, the third malefic planet, which is in Taurus. And so it's squaring the sun, and it's also squaring Pluto. So this is a time when it's vitally important of you to check the facts and the details. Check all the information that somebody's been telling you, or check if somebody is saying, well, I promise you this and I'll do that. You better look at their track record and see if they have a solid record of achievement before you believe them, or a performance that matches up to what the hype is about them, and just see if that is going to, if you think that that will hold up in the future. Because there's a sticky situation and a betrayal going around somewhere, and you will not be able to get out of it. And so that's why you need to be very cautious and careful right now, not only with your money, because Taurus rules investments, but also with anything that people are promising you or have promised you in the past, or may have been hiding something. Maybe you better look a little bit closer behind the scenes before you believe anything, because information can be very unreliable right now. And betrayals can be taking place, or perhaps have already done that, and you might be the last to know. And so what I'm wondering, with the problems of this rare grand cross and then another T-cross in the fixed signs, and there are no planets in the cardinal signs, but there are 4 retrograde planets now, meaning you really got to go back and tie up loose ends or finish up something that's been sort of hanging there. You've got to finish things. And then is there a way that you could ease the pressure on a sticky situation where there's no way out of it? And I think there is a way to do that. Thank heavens. And I only said ease the pressure. I didn't say you can get out of the sticky situation right now. But there are planets that are trining each other right now. And that's good. That could help ease a little bit of the pressure in your life, even if you can't get out or solve a sticky situation right now. And you certainly can't believe everybody right now. But there are 3 planets in the earth signs trining each other. That Uranus in Taurus is trining Mercury and Venus, Taurus's own ruler, in Virgo right now. So those are 3 planets trining each other. And that may help ease the pressure if you are wanting to be real practical and check facts right now. That would tend to benefit you. And then there are another 3 planets in the air signs. And they are all trining each other. Good. And that is because Jupiter, although Jupiter and Mars are exactly conjuncting each other in Gemini, and Mars is a malefic planet, they are being trined by Pluto in Aquarius. Well, Pluto and Mars are the 2 rulers of Scorpio, another fixed financial sign. Maybe you could ease some of your financial pressures in one way or another right now, but you still can't get out of a sticky situation. There's not going to be any way out, but this is a time when you could be trying to think of how to change things in order to take the pressure off yourself, because all the air signs are very conceptual. They can think of a lot of things, and there is a trine in the air signs. And then there's another trine in the fire signs, because the sun, which is in Leo, taking a beating because it's a fixed sign, is actually trining the moon in Sagittarius today, which is part of the mutable signs. Well, the sun's a fixed sign, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. All 10 planets are squaring and opposing the mutable and fixed signs. But still, the sun and moon are trining each other. You may be able to ease some of the pressure in your life simply by taking swift action. And you won't be able to get out of a sticky situation, but you may be able to do something to relieve some of the pressure on it. Or maybe you're just going to give up right now, figuring that you can't get out of a sticky situation, which I don't think anybody can right now. And maybe you just want to go on a trip. Or maybe you're deciding to change your career in some way and go back to school. Or maybe you're deciding that, okay, you can't get out of a sticky situation, but perhaps you could start something going in a new direction. So all of those things are possible right now. All right, so what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. for you, it does mean that the trine of the sun in Leo and the moon in Sagittarius could benefit you if you decided, even though you can't get out of a sticky situation right now, you could decide about some way to start something new anyway. And it wouldn't exactly solve all your problems right now, Aries, but you could get a start on something, and that may be a good way to go. Because Mars, your own ruler, is actually sextiling your sun in Gemini. It's under very harsh aspects right now. It's creating problems. It is certainly going to stir up information that had been hidden behind the scenes, and that information is going to come out. And so if you have any worries about hidden activities or hidden information, Aries, maybe it would be better if you tried to think of new ways that you could enlarge your sphere or your influence or whatever, but you won't be able to get out of a sticky situation. Nobody can do that right now. You can't break up a Grand Cross. There's just overriding tension and challenges that have to be faced. And that's why they're so rare. And then, Aries, if you can't get out of something, at least understand that maybe you could just try a little bit of something new, which would not allow you to escape your sticky situation, but it may relieve some of the pressure on you anyway. Maybe you could try something creative. Maybe you could just catch up on a chore that you've been putting off for a long time, and this would be a good time, since you can't go forward completely, you could maybe just sort of clean things up right now and get ready instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, Uranus is still in your sign. It's a malefic planet. It is squaring the sun in Leo, which can indicate some sort of change in your investments, and also a change in the things that Leo rules, which are love affairs, children's matters, the entertainment world, horse racing, and gambling. You could be on the losing end of a gamble right now, Taurus, and that's too bad. But Pluto in Aquarius is also squaring your sign. And the problem is, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in your sign. And so this is a time when I think, Taurus, that your future can be blocked in one way or another. Okay, that's the sticky situation. And it could have something to do with finances. And maybe you're not wanting to take a gamble with your own finances, and maybe it was fine if you were gambling with somebody else's, but if it was your own money, maybe you wouldn't want to do that. Or it can be that other people have been gambling with your financial situation, and that would not be paying off. And so you're a little bit stuck on that, Taurus. Something is not going to be the way you thought it would be. It's a sticky situation, and you can't get, you may have more bills, or you may have higher costs right now, and you can't get out of that. And so it's just something that's got to be faced and that you would have to do. The good side of all of that, though, Taurus, is that you can ease the pressure in your life, because that Uranus is trining that Pluto, it's trining Venus, your own ruler, and Mercury in Virgo. And so Virgo rules our health. And if you had any health problem right now, Taurus, this would be an excellent time to get additional good information about how to improve your health. And that would be very helpful to you. And also, if you were looking at your finances and not too happy about them right now, Virgo rules analysis and accounting, and you could sit down and go over a careful accounting of your budget and of your high costs, and maybe you could bring them into a little bit better balance right now by cutting the costs, and also just trimming things that you don't need anymore, or that you don't really need, and take your mind off your financial problems and start concentrating on how you could solve a health problem, because you could be successful in that, I think. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, you have two planets in your sign, Gemini, and they are both tightly conjuncting each other, and one of them is a malefic planet, Mars, which is a planet of high energy, but also of aggression, war, jealousy, and in your sign, which rules communication, it can involve gossip and harmful gossip or bad gossip about somebody. May not be about you though, because that Mars is conjuncting Jupiter in your chart. And so you could be learning some, you know, you might have thought that somebody was just wonderful, and you may be learning the rest of the story and finding out that they're not that way at all. And so it isn't bad gossip, it could be hidden information, because Mars and Jupiter in your sign are part of the Grand Cross in the Mutable Signs. And that means that you could be involved in a sticky situation and there is no way out, Gemini. But Pluto in Aquarius is trining the 2 planets in your sign, and so Pluto is trining Mars in your sign, and those are the rulers of Scorpio. There could still be some more money around for you somewhere, Gemini. And then that is good for you because you're looking at situations where there is some unreliable information that you've been fed, or that in your business dealings or even in your personal relationships, there's something behind the scenes that is no good. And either you've been hiding it or someone else has been hiding it, and it's really harmful. And that is because Mars and Jupiter in your sign are squaring Saturn, another malefic planet, and Neptune, which rules deception. It rules dreams, but it rules deception, particularly in Pisces, because Pisces rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. And I mean, either you've been believing tall tales that other people have been telling that aren't true, or there is more information that somebody has been hiding from you, and you know, you can't trust everybody right now is what I'm saying, Gemini. And so you should be especially careful with money, and you should be really careful with what you believe. And I wouldn't believe anything unless it was in writing and even notarized right now. I mean, you really got to check, because there's too much unreliable information going around. And then Jupiter and Mars in your sign are squaring Venus and Mercury in Virgo. And that means that somebody who is usually pretty reliable, and it could involve banking records, it could involve your healthcare provider, something like that. There's something wrong there too. And it's not going to please you. Remember, everybody can't get out. There's no way out of a sticky situation right now. You may be displeased with some people, or getting some information that say your healthcare provider was, you know, maybe there's higher costs according to your healthcare, or maybe there is a health issue that you've been avoiding but you really need to face it right now, or else there could be a banking issue that you need to straighten out, or just something where the facts aren't adding up right now, and it could be because they were hidden behind the scenes. And you really need to investigate everything. This would not make you feel good though, Gemini, and the reason why is that Mars and Jupiter are opposing the moon in Sagittarius today. So because yours is a mutable sign, you are caught up in some sort of sticky situation that there's no way out of it. At least not right now. But could you relieve the pressure in your life a little bit? I think you could, because Pluto in Aquarius is trining Mars and Jupiter in your sign. And just remember, you have Jupiter in your sign for a whole year. Mars is going to move on, but Jupiter's still going to be there. And so I think that the best I could advise you to do is hope for the best right now. I don't think that you're actually going to get it right now, but you could still keep hoping for it, Gemini, because Jupiter is a wonderful planet to have in a person's sign, and it's only in a sign once every 12 years. So you can still go forward, perhaps not at the moment, but I would still look forward to the future, and also to some more money coming your way, Gemini, but I don't think it's there at the moment. Okay? It might be due to funny things that have been going on behind the scenes, or facts and details that people wanted you to believe, but I would check them again if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer. Remember I said there are no planets in cardinal signs. Well, that means that all 4 cardinal signs, Aries, your sign, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, might be thinking that they can count themselves lucky because there's nothing squaring and opposing your sign, which is good. But there's still plenty of trouble around, Cancer, and there could be a sticky situation that you are involved in or that you're even worried about. Maybe it's somebody else, maybe even a family member or an acquaintance of yours or a coworker of yours that's in a sticky situation, but in one way or another, even if you are not directly involved, you could be indirectly involved. For instance, if it was a family member, well, you'd care about that. Or if it was a coworker or your employer that was changing things, well, you know, you'd care about that. Or it could be a partnership, either a pending partnership or a partnership that has dissolved because of a betrayal or something illegal going on. Well, you'd care about that too. So no, your sign isn't being squared or opposed by anything, but there are 10 planets in the heavens, all of them, that are going through that right now. And one of them is your ruler, the moon. And the moon is part of the Grand Cross. And so I think that is going to affect you, Cancer. Even if it's indirectly, it's going to affect you. Because you're going to sort of be feeling that you're in a sticky situation and there's no way out of it right now. And you would be exactly right about that. And that is because the moon in Sagittarius is being opposed by Mars and Jupiter in Gemini. It's being squared by Venus and Mercury in Virgo, and it's being squared by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. And there's 4 retrograde planets right now. Even if you say, oh, nothing's happening in my life right now, yes, there is something happening in your life, Cancer, and it involves perhaps a betrayal, or it involves some sort of sticky situation that people just can't get out of right now, and you could almost be feeling the heat from that yourself. Whether it was you or somebody you're associated with, it would be uncomfortable for you. And so there may be no way out, but there are 2 planets that are trining your sun. Now, it's the water signs that have no backup, because there are no planets in any of the water signs except Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, but they are trining your sun. If you wanted to know the real truth about something behind the scenes, I would keep digging if I were you, Cancer. You probably could find it. It might take you a little longer since both planets are retrograde, but it might be that soon there will be a revelation about information that had been kept from you. And when that information comes out, you're going to feel a lot better, because Cancers are very sensitive. They could have felt something was wrong. And, you know, they could have felt something was a little fishy. But I think that you could find out what it was, or else it's just going to come out. And you'll see it. You'll know it. So everyone, even the cardinal signs that don't have planets in them, are going to be affected right now by realizing they're in a sticky situation and there's no way out of it. But I think that if you went behind the scenes and started to add things up a little bit and listen or look for information that had been kept from you, at least you would have some answers, Cancer. Answers to things that had been sort of bothering you. And once you get the answers, that will, at least will take the mystery out of a situation that was supposed to be great, but never really played out that way. And that was because of things that were hidden behind the scenes. And so I think you're gonna know more. You may have wished not to know more. You may have wished that everything was a rosy picture, but it isn't. And you have to go by facts and details, many of which are unreliable right now or hidden. But for instance, for the hidden ones, I think you could find out what those are. And I wish you the best of luck. And try not to do anything too drastic right now, Cancer, because the moon, your ruler, is really under a severe challenge right now and can't get out of it. It's part of the Grand Cross because it's in Sagittarius. So be very careful wherever you are. Just take it easy. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo. Well, the good news is, Leo, I'll mention that first, is that the sun is in your sign, that's your ruler, and it is trining the moon in Sagittarius today. But it is under severe duress and has been. And there certainly is the possibility of a betrayal or a falling out, and it's not going to fall back in, Leo. And so I think your life is going to be changing. And that is because you could take the pressure out maybe by taking a trip or something, because the sun in your sign is trining the moon in Sagittarius, which rules long distance travel. So that might be a way of relieving pressure in your life. But also Pluto in Aquarius is opposing your sun sign, and it represents leadership or management, upper management in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions, and they're headed into the future. They have problems too, but they're not taking you with them, Leo. And the reason why is that, first of all, that might be all right with you, because going into the future can be a little uncertain. I mean, you know, you're sort of flying on faith there and hoping things turn out. But that's what people with vision have. People with vision can say, they can see down the road and they can say, oh, that could work. It's down the road, but it could work. Whereas, you know, Leos like to be their own boss. And they like to do things their way. And so, you know, if one ego runs up against another, that would not be good. And that may be happening in your life somewhere, Leo. And you're going to have to decide whether you want to just be second best, or whether you want to be your own boss. And Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun. It's been doing that for 6 years, Leo. It's got 1 more year left of that. And that means you have to really watch your money and watch it closely, because Uranus is a planet, it's a malefic planet because it's unstable and represents volatility, but particularly in investments and commercial real estate, because that's what Taurus rules. And it's been squaring your sun for 6 years, and it's got another year left of that. And so, and Pluto's going to be opposing your sun sign for years. And so your idea of what leadership is, or your role in being a leader, is really due for a change. And that's because there's a sticky situation that nobody can get out of right now, but a Leo would want to sort of take off and be the boss in their own way anyway. And you may have to start something new in order to do that. And or else just take a trip and try to relieve some pressure that you can't solve right now, Leo. And so that's not a bad idea. Nobody is going to find a way out of a sticky situation now. You can't break up a Grand Cross. That's because all the planets are in incompatible positions, and they're all in different elements. See? That's what's wrong with the Grand Cross. It is going to involve one planet in an air sign, one planet in a fire sign, one or more planets in a water sign, and same thing in a earth sign, and none of these 4 elements with planets in them have any reason to cooperate with any of the others, and so they're not going to. This is actually a time when there is a leader, a current leader, who's wanting to gain a high position, and they actually have a Grand Cross in their chart. I just looked that up, and I don't think they're going to make it. I won't say who that is. I'm not political, but I was shocked that I was doing a show about a Grand Cross, and about a week ago I looked up somebody's chart and found out they had a Grand Cross in their natal chart. It's not in mutable signs, it's in fixed signs. That's even worse. So people who are born with a Grand Cross in their natal chart, which almost never happens because they're so rare, are people that know they can't win on their own. Just like we can't win now, because there's no way out of a sticky situation. Well, these people are born knowing they can't win on their own. So what do? Well, they do the next best thing. They're going to do whatever somebody else wants them to do in order for them to get what they want, because they know they can't get it on their own. So a little hard to trust somebody like that, because they're going to sort of sell themselves to the highest bidder in order to get what they want, and they could do that, they just can't get it on their own. That's what a Grand Cross means in a chart. And it depends on what you want, I think, whether that works out or not for somebody. Depends. But that's what the influence that we're under now, and that's why you may have to change your idea of what leadership is, Leo, or how you want to be a leader in the future. You might be wise of you to think that over a little bit right now, and probably try not to come up against so many other people, because there are planets, particularly like Pluto in Aquarius, that isn't going to leave the opposition to your sun for years. And so you have to sort of rethink the way you want to get ahead right now, I think. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time, Virgo, when you're going to be pretty lucky if you sit down and do some good problem solving right now and go over things that you've already gone over before. Do it again, Virgo, because yours is a mutable sign. But the good news is you have Venus, which is in your sign, so you could be feeling pretty good right now, Virgo. And you have Mercury there, your own ruler, which is the planet of the mind, but it is retrograde or going backward. It is still going to be going backward, and it's only at the 0 degree of Virgo today, which means it's going back into Leo. And then it'll turn around, come right back into your sign, Virgo. But what is the problem is that today, Mercury and Venus in your sign are being opposed by Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and when Venus and Saturn are square or opposing each other, that is an indication of a betrayal. So I think that there has been some information about things going on behind the scenes that you're associated with. It isn't behind the scenes in your life, Virgo. It's behind the scenes in somebody else's life. And they have been sort of not telling you the whole story. And they have been hiding certain information or certain things that they've been doing, perhaps for a very long time. Saturn's transit is 28 to 30 years. It could have been the last time Saturn was in Pisces. But it's there now, and it's opposing Venus in your sign. And there's something going on behind the scenes that you need to sit down and think about a little bit more, Virgo. And I would dig for the information. The Virgos are good at facts and details. Well, there's something that's hidden behind the scenes that would adversely affect you, Virgo. And so the more you know about it, not that you can get out of a sticky situation right now, nobody can, but the more you know about it, the more you could perhaps plan in the future what you want to do about it. That's a way of taking off pressure, even if you can't get out of anything. And then Mars and Jupiter in Gemini are squaring your sign where you have Venus and Mercury, and that means that your relationships are not working out too well, and that may involve younger people that, you know, they're just not seeing eye to eye with you, or they're wanting to go their own way, or there can be some malicious gossip around that either they're saying about you, or there's some malicious gossip about them, which may or may not be true, that you would have to investigate. And so this is a time for you to be rather quiet right now, Virgo. Virgos are very practical and realistic. All of the earth signs are, and Uranus in Taurus is squaring Venus, its own ruler, in your sign, and Mercury in your sign. And so if you just sat down and sort of put a pencil to anything that involves dollars and cents, so it could be the costs of anything you're associated with, or it is the future financial plans that you want to make. Just sit down. And if you can't figure out, if you have questions, then you should actually spend a little bit of time going to a good financial planner or a good lawyer who could probably give you great information right now. And I'm urging you to do that now, Virgo, because what's wrong with getting more information? That's good. And there is a solar eclipse coming up in October in Libra, which is right ahead of your sun sign. And so if you wanted to do something that was more financially viable and legal in the future, you might want to spend a little bit more time getting some facts and figures and advice about that. And just gather more information right now, Virgo. You can't get out of a sticky situation, but you are definitely being hurt by some information that has been kept hidden. And and it could be about your employer. It could be about your health care plan. It could be about somebody's drug habit. It could be about people who have looked like they were angelic, but were actually very chemically dependent behind the scenes and you didn't know it. And so, nobody can get out of a sticky situation, Virgo, but it wouldn't hurt you to try to look for the facts right now. It might be a little bit tough, but I think you ought to do it. Just for your own peace of mind and your own knowledge. So best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, there is a trine in the air signs right now, and you can benefit from that because Mars and Jupiter in Gemini are trining your sun, and so is Pluto in Aquarius. So those are 3 planets, and they're all trining your sun sign, Libra. And yours is a cardinal sign, so there isn't anything squaring or opposing your sign. But you could get some information. You may not actually like all the information you're getting because Mars is conjuncting Jupiter right now. There could be some sort of ugly truth or information about something that you might have thought somebody was just wonderful and very angelic, and you might find out that there's a little more to that story, Libra. And if you have been trusting people in good faith, I would be a little bit careful about that right now. If you're not getting something in writing, or you cannot really assess accurately the performance record of someone, or check to see if they really did some work in a credible way and they can give you proof of that, that's one thing. But if you're just believing somebody who says they're great, I wouldn't do that right now, Libra. That would not be to your advantage. Even though you're not necessarily being hurt yourself, you can be hurt by a sticky situation around you or a betrayal right now. Your ruler, Venus, is being opposed by Saturn. Venus in Virgo is being opposed by Saturn in Pisces. And that would be an indication of betrayal. So I would say not everything is the way you think it is, Libra. And you can make forward progress on a good idea, or on working with people on a part-time or temporary basis. That could work out for you. And that could help set you up for a new beginning or some expansion in your life as early as the October solar eclipse, which is in your sign. Okay? But as far as you thinking that the whole world is a rosy picture right now, that is not true. And you may be disappointed by some of the things you find out, but then if you didn't check on them, you'd be just as disappointed when you do find out the hard way. What good is that? So it really pays for you to take cautionary, exploratory steps in accumulating information so that you can make a balanced and fair judgment about others. That's what Libra likes to do. And you may be able to do that even though nobody's going to be able to get out of a sticky situation right now, even you. But you could probably find out things that would help you make a more balanced judgment about others, and that would tend to work in your benefit because, Libra, your sign rules fairness, and it rules the law, and it rules balance. And so what's fair is fair. And if somebody's been stringing you along, what do you need them for? And also that could get you in legal trouble someday. Think about that. You need facts. And now's a real good time to get them because Venus is in Virgo right behind your sun sign. It's under duress, but it's in the background of your life. So I would check around on all your legal things or any partnership ideas that you have or any partners that you already have. Look a little more closely, Libra. Try to be sure. This is not a good time to guess on anything. Okay? What does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time, Scorpio, when I think that your rulers are in good aspect. They have been for a couple of weeks because Pluto in Aquarius is trining Mars in Gemini. But that Mars is conjuncting Jupiter today, and because Gemini is a mutable sign, and there are 7 planets in a grand cross in mutable signs, that will affect you because one of your rulers is in a mutable sign, Gemini, and being very, very harshly aspected. And so, Scorpio, there are no trines in the water signs right now. Okay? There are in the earth signs, there are in the air signs, there are in the fire signs. There's no trine in the water signs. And that's because there's only 2 planets in a water sign. They have no backup. They are Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, which are both retrograde, but they are trining your sun. And your rulers are trining each other, okay? That sort of means that you're not exactly holding a losing hand right now, Scorpio, but there are still so many planets, all 10 of them, 7 in a grand cross and the other 3 in fixed signs in a T-cross, that I don't think that you are in a winning position right now, Scorpio. This doesn't mean that you couldn't find out an awful lot of information behind the scenes if you wanted to, but at the same time it means that you, as well as everybody else, is caught in a sticky situation and there's no way out right now. Now it might be because your finances are affected by something, and that's because Uranus in Taurus is opposing your sun sign. Well, it's been doing that for the last 6 years, so I hope you've been real careful with your money and have not taken a gamble on anything, Scorpio, because you could be losing. I mean, people who take gambles are certainly not aspected to win right now, and they haven't been for a long time. And Uranus is still going to be squaring your sun for 1 more year. So gambles are out, Scorpio. There's no way to win on those. But if you were taking a gamble, you could sell it. You could get rid of it. You could end a gamble. I would advise you to do that, Scorpio. There's no sense in wasting your time on a losing situation. Why? Why would you do that? And in fact, it could be a little worse than you think, because Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, they are trining your sun, but Saturn they are both being squared by that Mars in Gemini, which is one of your rulers, and these are 2 malefic planets, Mars and Saturn, and that means that there can be information coming out from behind the scenes that might actually benefit you, Scorpio, because the planets in Pisces are trining your sun, but it wouldn't make you happy. It would be maybe involving a situation that, you know, there's no way out of at the moment. But the important thing is for you to adjust your sights or your thinking to what's going on today. And if you're finding out information behind the scenes and it isn't particularly, you know, joyful, you could still deal with it. And it would be better to deal with it and face it. And Scorpio, yours is about the best sign of any of them for being able to face bad things. And you could do it. Your sign rules justice and survival. And look at what your sign rules. The military. It rules medicine. You know, it rules war. And those are not, you know, necessarily good things. But you can face that. And if justice needs to be done somewhere, once you are really looking at what's been hidden behind the scenes, you're going to have to find a way to do it, Scorpio. And this is a good time for you to be thinking that, okay, things can't be hidden, they will be coming out, and you'll just have to make up your mind on something. And the sooner you do it, the less pressure you'll have to face. Because as long as something is hidden, it's like something that could kill you after a while, because it's sitting there festering. And it's better to bring it out, face it, and go on. And your sign happens to be about the best sign of any of them for being able to handle unpleasant things and get through them. But do it in a just way. What's fair is fair. But it's more than fairness. It's, you know, in war, there can only be one winner. So if that's what you want to be, as a winner, Scorpio, you're going to have to maybe do something that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're going to have to do it. So I think it's going to be a sticky situation you can't get out of at the moment, but you could find out more about it and figure out how eventually to handle something disillusioning. It would be disillusioning, you know, and probably because it had been hidden, and you'll have to face it. And you have the ability, remember, there's only one winner in a war. And your sign would be able to survive and administer justice. This may be a very good time to do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, the moon is in your sign today. Luckily, it's being trined by the sun in Leo. So, you've got that backup, Sagittarius, and that's your only backup, because yours is a mutable sign, and you are caught up in a grand cross of 7 planets in mutable signs that indicate that there is no way out of a sticky situation. And it could be affecting your feelings, Sagittarius, because the moon rules our feelings. And it could involve a family member, or it could involve a home situation, or it could involve issues that are sort of bigger than just one person. And that is because Sagittarius is very high-minded. It's ruled by Jupiter. Only Jupiter and Mars, which are tightly conjuncting today, are opposing your sun sign. Venus and Mercury are squaring your sun sign, and Saturn and Neptune in Pisces are also squaring your sun sign. And so, you know, it's tough right now, Sagittarius, for you to think well of everyone, because that isn't what's happening in the world right now. Everybody is involved in some sort of sticky situation, whether it's happening to them directly, which I think it is to you, Sagittarius, because your sign is involved in this grand cross. But even if you were a cardinal sign where there aren't any planets right now, they would still be involved. We are all going to be involved in a sticky situation where there is no way out right now. And it could really sort of touch your heartstrings, or it could arouse your feelings right now. Well, Sagittarius, yours is an intellectual sign, ruled by Jupiter. It rules very high thinking. It rules four-year colleges and universities and graduate schools. It also rules the courts, and it rules international law and foreign countries, travel to foreign countries or people from foreign countries, and you know, and the world view. Sagittarians have a world view. And I would just advise you right now, since you do have the sun trining the moon in your sign, that first of all, the moon only stays in a sign for 60 hours. It's the fastest mover of them all, which is 2.5 days. So it's going to leave. It's going to leave your sign. That's going to break up the Grand Cross. But that doesn't mean that we're out of the woods. It does mean that it will help calm your feelings a little bit when the moon finally leaves, but it's not leaving today, Sagittarius. It's there. And the sun will still be trining your sun. And so I think that you're going to be able to use your fine mind at a higher level, which is what you like to do, sort of higher level thinking. Sagittarius rules religion and philosophy. And so I would stick to that, Sagittarius, because you do have help from the sun trining your sun, which means, you know, think the best, or try to do your best right now. But you are in a sticky situation that you can't get out of. There is no way out of it at the moment. Even when the moon moves on, there's no way out of it. Grand crosses, they sort of have staying power. Even when they break up, they have staying power. If you do not have a grand cross in your natal chart, count yourself lucky. So try to achieve or go forward on your own talent. But you may find out things behind the scenes that can be very disillusioning to you. There could even be a betrayal around somewhere. You have to rise above that, Sagittarius, because the sun's a really good planet, and it is fortifying your sign today. So that can take some pressure off you. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, Capricorn, when one, you're sign is an earth sign, and it is also a cardinal sign. So there happens to be no planets in cardinal signs at all. So there's not a lot of pressure on you right now, Capricorn, but that doesn't mean it isn't around you. However, there are 3 planets that are trining each other in the earth signs, and they're all trining your sign, Capricorn. And so Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun, and Venus and Mercury in Virgo are also trining your sun. Venus is a very good planet to have in Virgo because it could be good news about your health. Or it could represent some sort of good news about your bank book, or about facts and details, even small ones. So Venus is trining your sun, or it could mean that somebody who is very particular about small facts and details and their records could be very fond of you as well. So that's nice, good feelings coming your way. But they're based on facts, Capricorn, or it can be based on your long track record of achievement at any level. You know, Capricorns, your sign is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is under great duress in Pisces right now, but actually it is still sextiling your sun. It's going to stay that way for about another year. Saturn is not leaving Pisces. Neptune's leaving Pisces, but Saturn isn't. And so it will continue behind the scenes. If you steadily make efforts on something that is like a dream for you, you probably are going to be able to attain it, Capricorn. But it's going to be one step at a time. That does not bother Capricorn. Capricorn's byword is perseverance. They're not interested in speed. They're interested in the goal. And Capricorns achieve their goals. It just takes them a long time. That's all right with them. Saturn rules time. Your ruler's in good aspect to you. 3 other planets are trining your sun. Nothing is squaring or opposing your sun sign. But this does not mean that if you're in any kind of a sticky situation, Capricorn, you still are not going to find any way out of it right now. Okay? Like there's no magic wand that you can wave that's going to get you out of a sticky situation right now if you're in one. But I would say you're under very good aspects to go forward anyway, even if you have to do it just one little step at a time. And, you know, sometimes all we can do is just put one foot in front of the other. But as long as you're going forward, Capricorn, you know you'll get there. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. Yours is a fixed sign. Oh, it's the same old story that's been going on for weeks right now. There are planets in a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. And that isn't even the worst of it right now. There's only 3 of those planets. Pluto in your sign is opposing opposing the sun in Leo today, and Uranus, your own ruler, is squaring your sign, which it's been doing for the last 6 years, and there's 1 more year of that to go. And I'm telling you, be patient, Aquarius, because in 1 year, Uranus is at 27 degrees of Taurus now. It's going to go into Gemini. It's in every sign for 7 years. So it's going to spend 7 years in Gemini, continually trining your sun, and that's your ruler. And it's such a slow mover, you know, that these trines have not happened. It would have only happened 1 other time in your life. That would have been when Uranus was in Libra, trining your sun. But Uranus is going to go into Gemini, and it is going to trine your sun for 7 years. And are you ready, Aquarius? Because I think those are going to be the happiest 7 years of your life. But they're not now. They're not now. But boy, you can look forward to that. I guarantee you're going to have a wonderful 7 years coming up in another year. It'll start in 2025, not this year. And so what you're facing this year is that there's a question of who wants to be the boss or who wants to be the leader, because the sun is in Leo opposing your sun sign. And then there's another question about who's going to afford it all if you try something new, because Uranus, your own ruler, is in Taurus, squaring your sun sign. Well, okay, nobody is going to get out of a tough situation right now. There's no way out because of the grand cross in the mutable signs. But yours is a fixed sign. Fixed signs generally don't budge. So what can you do, Aquarius? Well, there are planets trining your sun. That's what I mean. We can't get out of a sticky situation right now, but there are some sun signs that can have a little release of pressure if they work on it. And you are one of them that needs to work on it. But you can, because Mars and Jupiter in Gemini are trining Pluto in your sign. Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. Scorpio rules money coming in from any other source. And sometimes it rules going out, like in Texas. But you are aspected to actually have more money come in, Aquarius. Now, at the same time, there's a sticky situation that you can't get out of either, and I don't mean that you're going to win a lottery ticket or anything like that. I do mean that it is possible that if the value of your investments has been fluctuating quite a bit, which it could with Uranus in Taurus, you may decide to sell something. Well, if you do, then the money's going to be in your pocket. I'd hang on to it, Aquarius. And the reason why, if you can consolidate your resources right now financially, and if you have any gambles that haven't paid off, sell them and get rid of them, okay? Because there's an eclipse in October in Libra, and it too is going to be trining your sun sign at the same time that Jupiter in Gemini is still going to be trining your sun sign. You have to think of the future right now, Aquarius. Even if there are some things in your life where you feel like you're stuck in the past. I think you're tired of that too. And I think you're ready to move on. Pluto is a planet of deep truth and psychological transformation and change, and it's in your sign for the only time in your life. And you're going through that very slowly. You're beginning to realize that, you're you, and you've got power, and you know what you're doing. Okay? It's almost like a spaceship, and your sign rules space, where you want to blast off and do something. I just don't know if you're ready for it right now, Aquarius, but I strongly suggest that you get ready, because that October eclipse in Libra means there could be a wonderful new partner or legal contract coming your way, and that is not that far away, and you cannot just sit back and wait for it, or you might miss it. You've got to get going. And Jupiter and Mars in Gemini are trining your sun. So I think you got to, even if it's part-time, you got to start working on what you want to do. Be who you are. And if you think that you're just the Lone Ranger right now, who cares? If you're the one with the vision, then you've got to go for it. Even if you're only taking a couple steps right now. Build on it. Yours is a fixed sign. You can do it little by little. The important thing about fixed signs is they just do not give up. So this is a time to believe in yourself, and don't give up, Aquarius. Remember, something very good is coming in October for you, and that would be an opportunity that it would be fatal if you missed it. So you got to get ready for it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, when sadly the only element that doesn't have a trine in it is the water signs. There's no trine in the water signs right now. So you have two planets in your sign that are part of a very disastrous grand cross in mutable signs, because yours is a water sign, but it's also a mutable sign, and it's a double-bodied sign. And your sign not only rules dreams, it rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. So it also rules omissions and deceptions. And there is a very harsh aspect to your sun sign right now, not just from the 7 planets that are all squaring and opposing each other, which means that Venus and Mercury in Virgo are opposing Saturn and Neptune in your sign, Pisces. The moon today in Sagittarius is squaring them. So that when the moon squares Saturn, that means parents aren't getting along. But they're squaring planets in your sign. And then Mars, a malefic planet, is conjuncting Jupiter in Gemini, and they are squaring your sun. And when Mars and Saturn square each other, it's like double trouble. Okay, so that's what's happening, and there are no trines in the water signs. And you just got 7 planets that are what I would call ganging up on you right now, Pisces. And you've got to rely on your own faith that if I were you, I would repeat this about 100 times every day. And start right now, Pisces, and say, this too will pass. Just, this too will pass. Because it will. For one thing, the moon is going to move out of Sagittarius. This too will pass. You are in a sticky situation and there is no way out of it, Pisces. At least not right now. And it could involve something that has been kept hidden behind the scenes. If you are hiding anything behind the scenes, it's going to come out, Pisces. And your sign has no backup. It'll just come out. Okay, this too will pass, meaning that you'll have to deal with it. There could be a betrayal around somewhere, because Venus in Virgo is opposing Saturn in your own sign. And so you have some problems that you cannot solve at the moment, and your sign has no backup. You'll have to face them. So if you've been running away from anything, Pisces, you will have to turn around and face it and deal with it. And you know, Pisces are pretty good at escape, because Pisces rules escape, and there will be no escape. And so, since there's no way out of a sticky situation that you will be involved with, Pisces, and it may be something that information that sort of suddenly comes out. You might have even known the information for a while, but now it's going to come out. And it doesn't matter if it's good news or bad news. I would say that it's bad news. It is something that you will just have to face. And Pisces are good at escape, and they're very good at excuses, and they're good at turning the other cheek, and Pisces rules forgiveness, and they're good at sort of seeing the big picture, and not worrying too much about the details. But this is a time when no matter what the details are, you will have to face them. And this would be a very good time for you to draw a conclusion. And it might have been about a mistake in the past that you made, but why repeat it? You might just say, oh, this is coming out right now and it's a mistake, but I don't have to repeat it. I don't have to go on with it. You could decide to resolve it in some way. It's just that information is very unreliable right now, and so you'd have to dig for the facts. But if the facts are in writing, or they're notarized, or there's something where it's legal, then you just are going to have to face it. But keep repeating to yourself, Pisces, this too will pass. But it's only going to pass, and you're only going to get well from it, or you're only going to recover from it, if you realize an important truth that Pisces is better at knowing than anybody, and it is that no matter what the troubles are, or no matter what problems you face, you can rise above them. And remember, somebody more than 2,000 years ago was nailed to a cross, and he still said, as he was facing a real big problem because he was dying, he still said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." So a Pisces knows a lot about love, because love comes through forgiveness. And you'll have to face something that you can't get out of. But you could learn from it. You could still recover. This too shall pass. Just keep repeating that. But it'll never pass if you don't resolve it. If you don't say, okay, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Or this is how I see it. And just remember that if you have love in your heart, you will certainly survive this. And be better for it. So good luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry the website is still down. I'm thinking about giving up on that because I'm having troubles with it, and maybe getting a new website built. So if anybody knows, has a good recommendation about building websites, I wish you would let me know. I think I'm in the market for one, a new one. And in the meantime, thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks for being a new subscriber. And if you like the show, I hope you tell your friends about it too so they can subscribe. And until then, I'll see you next week. Bye.